Hello children, hope you all are doing well. Welcome to the lesson Rise of Nationalism in Europe. In the previous unit, we learnt about the ages of revolution from 1830 to 1848. Before starting with the next topic of ours, let's recall our previous unit. In the previous unit, we understood the first upheaval, the first uprising. It took place in France in the year 1830, due to which a constitutional monarchy was established over there. And in 1832, the Greek War of Independence. The people over there, they struggled against the Muslim dominance over there. And they got supported by the West Europeans, the poets and the artists. Then we learned the new cultural movement, that was Romanticism, where the music, the arts, the plays, the stories, they played an important role in expressing nationalist sentiments, especially among the common people, those who were illiterate. Then we learned the Polish language, how it was used as a symbol of struggle for getting independence against the Russian dominance. Then in 1830, that how people of Paris, they came out on the road to raise their voices against the monarchical orders. And then in 1848, finally, the France, it established a republic over there with the educated people, with the common people over there. And then we learned that in 1848, Frankfurt Parliament was being formed in Germany, which got disbanded by the monarchies over there. But the conservatives, they realized that until and unless this liberalist people, they are being granted with concessions, they will not stop this revolution. Now let's start with the new unit, the making of Germany and Italy. After 1848, the nationalist sentiments, it started moving away from democracy and revolution. Now, the nationalist sentiments, they were carried, they were promoted, they were organized by the conservatives. It's so surprising, children. Why now these conservatives, they started holding the process of nationalism? Actually, with nationalism, now they wanted to hold political power as well as dominance all over Europe. Now let us see that how conservatives, they had a major role in unifying Germany. During 1848, when the liberal nationalists, when they were coming ahead to join the whole of German confederations into a nation state, at that time they were being repressed. They were being repressed by the three combined forces, the monarchy, the army and the Junkers. Now what do you mean by Junkers? The Junkers, they were the landowners, the richer landowners of Prussia. Now these three combined forces, they came ahead to suppress this liberal nationalist movement, the movement which wanted to create a nation state. From then on, Prussia took the initiative, it took the leadership to unify the whole of Germany. Now, when it took the leadership, at that time, the chief minister of Prussia was Otto von Bismarck. He was the main architect to carry out this process. He started carrying out this process with the help of army and bureaucracy. 3 wars over 7 years with Austria, Denmark and France ended in Prussian victory. Thus, unification of Germany got completed. Then, in the year 1871, William I of Prussia, he got the chance to be as the emperor of the whole of Germany. Now let us see how this ceremony took place. On a bitterly cold morning of 18 January 1871, an assembly which comprised of the representatives of army, the prince of German states, important Prussian ministers, including Otto von Bismarck. They all gathered in the palace of Versailles to proclaim the new emperor of the Germany, King William I of Prussia. He was declared to be as the new emperor for the whole of Germany. The nation building process in Germany had demonstrated the dominance of Prussian state powers. Now, the new state, they emphasized on modernizing the currency, banking, legal and judicial systems. Thus, They became a model for the whole of Germany. Now let us study the unification of Italy. Like Germany, Italy too had a long history of political fragmentation. Italy too was scattered over several dynastic states, as well as the multinational Habsburg Empire. During the mid of the 19th century, Italy was divided into 7 states, of which only one Sardinia Piedmont was under the control of Italian princely house. The north regions in Italy, they were under the control of Austrian Habsburg. The center, it was ruled by Pope, and the southern regions in Italy, they were under the control of Bourbon kings of Spain. Even the Italian language had so many regional and local variations. Only one state was under the control of European government, which was Sardinia Piedmont, which was ruled by an Italian princely house. Now let us see who were the people who took the initiative to unify the Italy. Yes children, there were 3 important people, those who had a crucial role in unifying Italy. They were Giuseppe Mazzini, Count Cavour and Giuseppe Garibaldi. Let us learn about them one by one. That what were the initiatives, how did they function to unify Italy. Now let's learn about Giuseppe Mazzini. He was born in Genova. He was a revolutionary. He had formed different underground societies to achieve his goals, to train revolutionaries, to spread the ideas of nationalism, to create a nation state. And he was the head of the Republican Party. But his uprisings, which were made in 1830 and 1848, both were a failure. Now, the responsibility of unifying the Italy was taken by Victor Emmanuel II, who was the ruler of Sardinia Piedmont. As we have already studied just now, that Sardinia Piedmont was the only state which was ruled by an Italian. So now we are very surprised to hear that the kings, they were coming ahead for the unification process. Actually, the reason was they wanted to increase the economic development as well as to dominate over the whole of Italy. Now let us learn about Count Cavour. Who was Count Cavour, children? He was the chief minister under Victor Emmanuel II, who led the movement to unify the Italy nation. He was neither a revolutionary nor a democrat, but still he is remembered to be as the real maker of Italy. Now children, like other wealthy educated members in Italy, he used to speak French better than Italian language. And through his diplomatic alliance with France, which was engineered by Count Cavour himself, the Sardinia Piedmont, it was able to defeat the Austrian forces in the year 1859. Thus, Count Cavour had an important role in unifying Italy. Now let us learn about the person who was the most celebrated Italian freedom fighter. Yes children, he was Giuseppe Garibaldi. He was from a family who was involved in coastal trade, and he himself was a sailor in the merchant navy. Now in the year 1833, he met Giuseppe Mazzini, and he was inspired with him so much that he participated in the Young Italy movement, as well as he participated in the Republican uprising, which happened in 1834. But this uprising, which happened in Piedmont in 1834, it was suppressed by the monarchical groups. And as a result, Giuseppe Garibaldi, he had to flee, and he had to remain in exile in South America till the year 1848. Now, in 1854, when Victor Emmanuel, when he was in a struggle to unify the Italy, at that time Giuseppe Garibaldi joined his movement. Now Giuseppe Garibaldi, apart from the regular troop, he was joined with fresh volunteers, and his group was called to be as Red Shirts, and he became the hero of this Red Shirts. And in the year 1860, they led an expedition of thousands to the South Italy and to the two kingdoms of Sicily, where they got the support of the local peasants, and with the help of local peasants they drove out the Spanish rulers in the year 1860. Thus, in the year 1861, in the unified Italy, Victor Emmanuel II, he was chosen to be the emperor of unified Italy. Now, why he was chosen, children? Because he was one among the noble kings and he had an experience of 12 years. Because of his experience, he was chosen as the emperor, and after years, he was also given the title of Father of Fatherland. Giuseppe Garibaldi, he didn't stop there. Again, in the year 1867, he led an army to fight the last obstacle. The last obstacle was to join the Papal states into Italy. And now, this Papal state, it was in Rome. Now, when they reached over there, Rome was being stationed with the French army. Means they were supported by the French armies. And now these red shirts, they were of no match between the combined forces of the French armies as well as of Papal's troops. And in the year 1870 only, when the red shirts, when they were with a war with Prussia, when the French armies, when they moved out of the Rome, then only they were able to unify Papal states into Italy. Thus we have learnt the unification of Italy, and there were three main persons, those who had a main role in unifying it. They were Giuseppe Mazzini, Count Cavour and Giuseppe Garibaldi. Now let us learn the last topic of ours, that is the strange case of Britain. Why this strange word is used? Some scholars, they say that Britain is the true model of the nation state. Let us study that how did they become the model. In Britain, the formation of a nation state, it was not the result of a sudden upheaval or revolution. It was the result of long drawn out process. Now children, before 18th century, there was no nation state. Here, the communities found over here were the English, the Irish, the Scot or the Welsh. And each ethnic groups had their own culture and their own political institutions. But there were variations all over. Now, as the English, their wealth, their power and their importance started growing, they started influencing over the other nations nearby the island. Now, these Britishers, they had an English parliament which were dominated by the English members. Now, see children, now this parliament had seized power with the monarchies at the year 1688. With a long conflicts, they have grabbed out the power from the monarchy and they had established this parliament. Now this parliament, it was an instrument with which they created a nation state with England at its center. And this parliament, it formed out an act of union between Scotland and England. And thus, with the union of England and Scotland, it resulted in the formation of the United Kingdoms of Great Britain. And with years, they added even Ireland, and with the joining of Ireland, a new nation was formed, the Britain. So thus, there was a formation of a nation state. Now let us study what methods were used to add the Ireland and Scotland. Yes children, they used the method of suppression. As the British identities started growing, when their wealth, when their importance, when their powers steadily started increasing, they started slowly suppressing the Scottish identities, their culture, the political institutions were also started getting suppressed. The Catholic clans that inhabited in Scottish, they had to face terrible repression whenever they had demanded for independence. Even the Scottish dwellers, they were not allowed to speak Gaelic language. They were not allowed to wear the national dress of theirs. Even whenever they revolted, they were even driven out of their homelands. So thus, with the method of suppression, Scotland was added into the Great Britain. Now let us study about Ireland. Yes children, Ireland also had a similar faith. Ireland was a country which was deeply divided into two Christian faiths. One were Catholics and Protestants. Now, as you know, children, Britishers with their clever, the tactful methods, they try to play the game of divide and rule. They supported the Protestants over there to establish dominance over a largely Catholic country. And now the Catholics, they also revolted. Okay, but their revolt, that was also suppressed. And in the year 1798, the Catholics, they revolted, which was led by Wolfton and his United Irishmen. But the revolt of theirs, they were suppressed. And finally, in the year 1801, the Ireland, they were forcibly incorporated into the United Kingdom. Thus, a new nation came into being. That was the Great Britain. A new nation, the British nation, was formed through the propagation of English culture. Now the symbols of the new British nation was the national anthem, God Save Our Noble King, the national flag, the Union Jack, and the English language. It was promoted all over to show the dominance. And now the older nations, they survived only just like subordinate partners. Thus we have learned how Britain became the model of the nation state, where there were no revolutions. With the help of English Parliament, with the Act of Union, with the methods of suppression, and with the propagation of English culture, they was able to form a nation state and became the true model. With this, we have come to an end of this topic, children. We have learned the unification of Germany, Italy, and Britain. In Germany, we have learned, children, that how the liberal nationalists, they got suppressed with the combination of three forces: the monarchy, the army, and the Junkers. And then the initiative was taken by Prussia under the leadership of Otto von Bismarck. And then 3 wars were undertaken, which was spread over for 7 years. And at the last, it ended with the Prussian victory. And thus, Victor Emmanuel II was chosen to be as the new emperor of the unified Germany. Then we learnt about Italy's unification. In Italy's unification, there was a main role of 3 persons: Giuseppe Mazzini, Giuseppe Garibaldi, and Count Cavour. And then finally, we learnt about Britain, that how it created itself to be as nation states without revolutions, with the help of English Parliament, and with the methods of suppression, and finally propagating the English culture. Hope you all have understood the topics taught. Stay safe, be healthy.